Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner Davis.
Oh, good evening, and good evening to everyone. Welcome to WCM Live this Tuesday. It's also a voting Tuesday, but we'll get into that later on another time. Of course, I'm Ed McQueen, your host, and none other than the lady who has green herself. We're talking about credit today, so that green means dollars, right?
Money.
Money. Also, welcome, Miss April Garner Davis. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well today. Can't complain.
Yeah, good. Very glad to hear that. So, April, we're talking about a much needed topic, which we seldom get into around here, but that is your credit, all right? And today we're fortunate to have with us today a gentleman that who's going to give us some further information regarding what to do with credit, how to manage it, and all that good stuff. And I'm really proud to see that this guy, he's got his consulting business, and I'm really anxious to hear what he has to say, April. So, April, you're probably a bit more familiar than I am because he was on this fantastic network, and and everybody goes through your network.
I wish everybody would go to the network, but we do have a great following there, and of course. Joseph Wallace is his name, of Masters Credit Counseling, actually, I should say. And the wonderful thing about what Mr. Wallace is doing is he's trying to educate the community on different aspects of, credit management and how to make sure that you have a great credit profile that is, a part of your financial plan or your financial strategy. And so I typically see his posts in the network and was very curious and thought to myself, this is great information to have at any time of the year. And now that for a lot of people, we're entering the end of fiscal year really soon for those who are on fiscal year, July 1st to June 30th. And it's time to, restart for some people. We're mid-year, Brother Edward, 6 months into a brand new year already.
Yeah, please, let's not talk about it.
It is so crazy how quickly time flies. I think it's on fast forward. Somebody take your finger off the button, please. Because technically, we only have, 6 months left until it's going to be tax time and all the things. So, I know, right? When you put it in perspective, it's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's blowing my mind.
Yeah. So, we talk about a lot of things on WCM Live, and I was explaining to Mr. Wallace that we talk about everything from, politics to education. We have guests of all kinds. Right. And so we're always hitting different topics, and there's never like a way to really to know what it is that we're going to talk about from week to week, other than to tune in every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And so if you're watching now, thank you so much for watching. Please pass this along. On your social media pages, please share right now, live, real time, because you can ask your questions and post comments for our special guests. And of course, you can view this broadcast for 7 days after today on WCMagazine.net. So, click the link on WCMagazine.net and share it through our YouTube page as well. So let's go ahead and bring on Mr. Joseph Wallace. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It is great to have you here. And you were with Masters Credit Counseling. And that's just one of the hats that you wear. It's the main hat that we're going to talk about this evening. But why don't you start by telling our viewing audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay. So with Masters Credit Consultants, we specialize in consumer credit repair, credit building, and credit restoration. I have an extensive background in consumer credit, over 12 years of experience of helping clients improve their credit, restore their credit. I always tell someone, they say, I don't know if you want to see my credit. It's not that well. I say, I always see credit not as a number. I see credit like an old car, and as long as you know how to fix that old car, you can restore it. So don't ever think that your scores is just like so bad that there's no coming back from it. So, but that's my background. I have an extensive amount of experience in consumer credit, and I have even more experience in business credit. Very extensive knowledge in business credit as well.
So
that's great to hear.
That is great to hear. So Joseph, again, thank you for being with us tonight. And we were talking pre-show about some of the topics that we want to be sure to cover tonight. And I think one thing that we can do to make sure that people really understand the nuts and bolts of credit is to start with the definition. What is credit? And some people understand it and others do not. They understand how to use it wisely, and there are those who, once they find out that, I have a line of credit, they tend to either abuse it, misuse it, or whatever the case is. And so I think if we start with the fundamentals, what exactly is credit, then we can kind of build from there on the rest of the conversation and talk about all the elements that are part of, that definition. So what is credit?
So I'm not going to give you the book definition. I'm going to keep this conversational so that people can relate to it. I'll bring it down like we're sitting at a table having a conversation. So how I would define credit as it being a 3-digit number that ranges between 300 to 850. So the lowest that you could go is having a 300 credit score to 850. And that's on the FICO. So the FICO is what creates your score. And so when people say I have a 700, I have a 600, they're talking about I have like either a 600 or a 700 credit score. That's a FICO score. Okay,
so Joseph, let's revert a little bit, and you want to tell our audience what FICO means? FICO right now.
Yeah. The definition of FICO is the fair. He's taking me way back.
No. I'm looking at it as an acronym. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he says you're taking him back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a. I'm going off memory. Fair, Isaac, something Oscar.
Well, I didn't mean to put you on that.
No.
Okay, because I didn't know. I didn't know. So, but I thought the audience would want to know too, because that's a good
thing, because if you have a question, someone else will have that same question in the future. So I'm always trying to improve. So the next time I'm doing a live or I'm out at a seminar, I'm going to have. I need to know the exact acronym.
It's Fair Isaac Corporation.
There you go, Fair Isaac Corporation.
Fair Isaac Corporation. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You got that, Brother Ellis. There you go. So
yeah, thank you. So with that, how that score is created, there are 5 factors that creates your FICO score. The largest factor is your payment history. It makes up 35% of your score. So it is very, very important to pay everything on time. That's the largest thing that impacts your score, is making your payments on time. The next largest factor is utilization, and that's 30%. That's how much debt you owe versus how much credit that you have available. So to kind of explain that is, if you have a credit card with $1,000 credit limit and you spend $500 on that card, and that $500 report to the credit bureaus, you have a 50% utilization. Online, they tell you, you want to stay around 30%. We educate our clients to stay around 10%, so they're able to maximize on the points. So if you go from 30% down to 10%, you actually gain more points. So you want to try to stay around that 10% mark. And we can talk about that when we get into the business side as well, why that's important. The next factor is the age of your credit. That makes up 15% of your score. So how long have you been able to manage an account and keep that account open? So 2 things about that is the age. I'll go into like how you go from from poor to excellent, and it's based on how many accounts you have as an average. So if I have an account that's been open for 6 months and I have an account that's been open for 12 months, I have an average age of 9 months. So if you have 5 accounts, you could go over the age of those 5 accounts, add that up, and then divide it by 5, and that'll give you your age. So between 1 to 2 years of age is considered poor. Between 3 to 4 years is considered fair. 5 to 6 years is considered good, and 7+ years is considered excellent when it comes to age. So when we see these people that have like an 800+ credit score, like they're maxing out on all of the factors of the FICO. The next item is new credit. That makes up 10% of your score. That's the increase, like when you actually apply for something, that becomes like a hard inquiry on your credit. So we try to tell people, when you apply for something, make sure it's important. Like, I know when you're out shopping and they say, hey, open up a card here and we'll give you like a 25% off your purchase. How important is that? What impact is that going to have on your increase, and how much of an impact is that going to have on the age of your credit? Because when we go back to age, if you have that one account that's been open for 7 years, and then you open that account and that account is a month old, now you got an account that's 7 years and 1 month, and you divide that by 2, you just impacted your age in half. So now that has came down to 3.5 years of age. So now you went from
fair.
Right. But it's inevitable, right? Like, you have to apply for things, right? So when you trying to build credit, you have to do that. But it's only 10%. So you want to look at like my short-term goals and my long-term goals. And I understand that I have to apply for credit, but I don't want to just go out, like as soon as I hit that 700 mark, I'm just applying for everything because I feel I can be approved.
Yeah.
The next item is mixed credit. Mixed credit is having revolving credit and having installment credit. Revolving credit is like a credit card, a line of credit. That's considered revolving because if I have a credit card and it's $1,000 credit limit, if I was to spend $500 and pay it off, I still have my $1,000 credit limit that I can use at any time. It's just constantly revolving. An installment is like your car payment, or you get a loan for 12 months. Once that account is paid off, it's closed. So if I go and get a car and it's for 48 months, I know exactly how much I'm paying per month for the next 48 months. The revolving is dictated on your balance. So if I have $1,000 credit card and I have if I spend $500 on it, if I only pay the minimum, which the credit card, they allow you to do, just pay the minimum, I may pay $39 on that. Or if I have $100 balance, I may only have to pay $19. So the amount I have to pay per month, it changes. On an installment, you get that car payment, you sign that contract. If like that $249 you're paying, you know how much you're paying every month for the next 48 months. So that's the difference between a revolving and installment. But it's important to have both to be able to capitalize on gaining that 10% of the FICO.
That's interesting, man. I know we're gonna. I'm intrigued by sometimes when I hear people saying that they want to pay the minimum on a credit card. That's not the best thing to do, is it? I mean, you want to pay enough, in other words, so that you can get out of that debt stream. Is that correct? Does that impact your credit? By the way, if you pay it off quicker than what they want?
Right. That's an excellent question, actually, because again, if we go back to your short-term goals and your long-term goals, short-term is best to you want to avoid the interest. I'm sorry, long-term you want to pay it to avoid the interest. The longer you carry that debt, the more money that you're throwing away. The banks, they make their money from loaning out money, you paying the interest on top of it, meaning that, again, the example that I said earlier, if you have that $500 balance and the minimum payment is $39, maybe $14 of that is the interest and 25% is the principal, meaning that 25% is actually like your money that you're paying that's going to bring that $500 down to $475 that you owe. The other $14, it goes into the pockets of the bank. That's the interest. So the longer you're paying the minimum, the more you're throwing away in interest.
But does that impact your credit? Or do they look at that as a good, a worthy person to trust with credit? Does it, in other words, does that impact your credit score?
So
better if you continue to pay them on a streamline than to just pay it off. Yeah, so, I know you want to get out of debt.
So on the FICO, if you have that $500 balance and you're paying the small increments, it's going to have a negative impact on your utilization. Lose points by having it. Does it look good in the eyes of the bank? You're doing like those payments over an extended period of time. The system, the algorithm sees it as like you're doing these payments over a long period of time. It shows that you're capable of like managing debt over a long period of time, doing your payments on time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really change if I was to spend $500 and then pay off that $500 within like a month. It shows that I can purchase a large amount and pay it off in full. The advantage to doing that is this is an advanced strategy. That's why I was trying to, you was asking a good question. The advanced approach to doing that is if I'm starting to build credit and my goal is to say, you know what, I want to have high credit limits. And so I can get 2 or 3 cars and I want a car to have like a $10,000 credit limit. I want a car to have a $20,000 credit limit, and I want a car to have a $25,000, which is definitely doable, right?
Yeah, right.
The advantage to doing that is now if I have a $25,000 car, a $20,000 car, and just say a $10,000 car, I have $45,000 in credit, $55,000 in credit, right? Yeah. Say an emergency comes up. I have a family member, they pass away. They unfortunately didn't have insurance. I'm going to help. And the funeral cost is $5,000. If I only had a $10,000 card and I had to put $5,000 on that card, now I just increased my utilization to 50%. If I have $55,000 of credit and I had to spend $5,000 on that, I'm around 10%. So it's not going to have that much of an impact on my score at all.
It just depends on the limit. It depends on the limit. It's what I'm gathering because again, you use the scenario of having a $10,000 limit, but using $5,000 of that credit at 50% utilization, that will impact your credit score. The next time your score runs. But if you have a $55,000 credit limit and you only use $5,000 of it, you've only utilized 10% of the credit limit. Therefore, it won't have that much of a significant impact because you're at that threshold that you say everybody should strive for, which is 10% utilization, right? And so I'm glad you went back to the utilization question or item. Because I think that people don't really realize that the utilization does impact their credit score when you have the credit bureaus, and are there three credit bureaus still, or is there more than, three? There's three.
There's Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion.
All right, so Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So, for those of us who watch our credit closely, we know that sometimes all three bureaus are reporting. Sometimes there's only one bureau reporting an account. It's not always consistent across the bureaus. But what happens, at least from the standpoint of at how I watch my credit, I noticed that there may be some accounts that are reported to one bureau, whereas there, another bureau may be missing one or two accounts, right? But I always have that pretty much that indicator of what my credit utilization is, especially if I'm using apps such as Credit Karma, which you and I were talking about earlier, which will sometimes send you a message saying, you're utilizing, I'm just making up a number, you're utilizing, you have $3,000 worth of credit. And then when you dig into it, it'll tell you how much of credit utilization that represents. So as you see your credit utilization go down, that should positively impact your credit score.
Correct.
But as your credit utilization goes up, it could negatively impact your credit score, right?
Correct.
So how does income factor into all of this? Is income just an indicator of how much credit you could be extended, or do they use income as a part of that formula when it comes down to even credit utilization? How does income factor in?
Or the ability to pay, right?
Right. So I'm going to answer that, but I want to go back to Mr. Edward and his question, because I want to give as much advanced knowledge as I can. We'll try to keep it simple, but some of the tactics that I can provide to the viewers to help them kind of move through life faster, building out their credit. When we were talking about utilization on credit and building your credit, so I'll kind of stick to the same formula that we talked about earlier. If I have that $1,000 credit card and I'm trying to build credit to get higher credit limits, just because I have $1,000 credit limit doesn't mean that I can only spend $1,000. What I mean by that, now this is a secret to the algorithm, right? So you guys know about the matrix. We're going to hack into the matrix. You have $1,000 credit limit. If my car is due on the 1st of July and I want to go buy a set of tires, and those tires are going to cost me $200 each. So that's $800 plus the tax and everything that they'll charge. So I can go and spend. I say, you know what? I have the funds in my bank account that I could go and pay for this. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on my card first. And then 1 or 2 days after it shows that charge, I'm going to pay it off. So now for the month, my month to date spend on what that lender sees is I spent $850 on $1,000 credit limit, and I paid it off. And then I'm going to go and get groceries and say I'm going to spend, because I paid off the $850. So now I'm back down to zero. But I spent $850 based on what the computer sees for the month. So I'm going to go spend $200 on groceries. So I spend that $200. 2 days later, I pay it off. Now I spent $1,050. I spent over my credit limit, but my balance is zero. If you do that for approximately, depending on the bank too, but if you do that for approximately 60 to 90 days, the algorithm in the system sees that the credit limit that they provided to you is too small because you're going over it, but you're managing the account in an excellent manner. So they need to increase that amount. So we see a lot of people say, I had this Capital One card forever. They never want to give me an increase, right? You have to know how to treat that card, because Capital One, they'll give you people have a card for 2 or 3 years and never see an increase. Or they go from a $500 to $750, right? But knowing how to use that card to get a higher credit limit, now you could go from that 500 to 1,500, from that 1,500 to 5,000, because you're spending over the amount. But this is only for those that are disciplined right? If you spend it, you have to make sure that you have the cash to pay for it. The advantage to doing that outside of growing your credit faster is that once you get in like Premier cards, the majority of those cards are going to come with cash back, or they're going to come with points. If you're getting 2% cash back, if I spend $1,000 on my card, if I know I got to buy groceries, I got to pay my light bill, water bill, trash bill, I pay lawn service, everything I could put on that card, I'm putting on that card first. I'll log in and pay it off. But I'm going to get cash back for that, or I'm going to get points for it. If I operate a business and my business expenses is $7,000 per month, I want to put everything that I can on that card, and I want to get either cash back from that, or I want to get points for it.
Okay. So you're talking about pretty much optimizing your card to get rewards, but also to eventually increase your credit score because of, like you said, the algorithm is picking up on your credit responsibility and the fact that you are charging, but you're also paying it off in a timely manner.
Well, it would increase your credit, the amount of the credit limit that you have. Right.
And eventually your score, if you're keeping up with the payments on time.
Correct.
So on-time payments are particularly important for increasing your credit score.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, your payment history is it's like the most important thing. You have to pay everything on time. A lot of people don't know that. Even if you fall within like hardships, call, like don't avoid it, right? If they call you, like answer the phone, because the majority of them have programs available to help people that's going through hardships. And so they could push a payment to the back end of a loan. They can put you on a zero interest for like months, but just don't avoid it. Like take that call and say, hey, I'm going through this. I'm out of work right now. And the majority of every lender almost have programs in place to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about the app that a lot of people tend to use, which is Credit Karma.
Okay.
And of course, I'm going to put it out there. Disclaimer: we're not trying to bash Credit Karma in any way, but we want to be realistic about what Credit Karma actually provides in terms of information. So talk a little bit about that app and any other app that you know of that people tend to use to monitor their credit.
First, I want to hit everything. The income question that you had, and then I'm going to come back to Credit Karma. So the amount of income that you put on the application, it impacts the amount of the credit limit that they will approve you for. I mean, it doesn't mean that if I make $60,000 a year, I'm going to put $90,000 down on there. I'm going to be real. I'll put the realistic number. So if I make $60,000, I put $60,000. But that could impact the amount that I'm approved for. What you also want to read when you are applying, even online, you want to read the small print and say if you're able to include household income. So if like you and your husband, if you bring in 60 and your husband bring in 60, that's $120,000 of income. So you also want to read the fine print and see if you're able to add the household income. How the income works though, if we're going to talk about authorized users soon, but with the income, if my son turns 18 and he don't have any credit, the only credit, he had a 740 score only because he's an authorized user on accounts. If he was to make $40,000 a year at 18 years old, they're not going to give him like a $5,000 credit limit just because he have good income and a high score. Like the computers are smart now. Back in 2005, maybe, but now, no, it's not going to work. Like now, it looks at like the factor of your age, how much credit have you established now, because now it segregates between primary and secondary credit. So the primary credit is your actual credit And a secondary credit is like the accounts that you added on as an authorized user. So if you only have like a $300 credit card and you have a $10,000 card that's an authorized user and a $15,000 card that's an authorized user, you may still be approved for like only $1,000. You're not going to get like a $8,000 card just because of that, because of the income and a high credit score. Okay. Is there any questions on the income? And then I can go over to Credit Karma.
I don't have any.
Yeah, I don't have any question on the income. Yeah.
Okay. So we hear Credit Karma all the time. We pull their credit. The platform that our company uses is called Identity IQ. Identity IQ, it gives you all three of your credit scores from TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and they give you a very detailed breakdown of your complete credit history. So you can see like everything that's on someone's credit and identify the items that's on there that's having a negative impact on their score, that's bringing their scores down. Credit Karma is a good platform. So I just want to say, I'll give it its kudos. It's free. It's a free platform. It only gives you your Equifax and TransUnion score, so it doesn't give you your Experian score. What we mostly hear from our clients is, Credit Karma said I was at a 640 and I went to purchase a car and they pulled my scores and they said I was at a 570. And Credit Karma, everybody say Credit Karma's wrong. It's not that it's wrong. That Credit Karma, it uses the Vantage score, which is the Vantage 3.0, which is different from the FICO 8. And there's a lot of FICO, so it's not just the FICO 8. There's a FICO 3, 5, 8, 9, 10. So there's different FICOs. I don't know if we want to go into all the details of the theories on why there's so many FICOs, but that's the difference between why you may see like a gap in your score between the Vantage score and the FICO score. So it's good that you can use Credit Karma because it's a free platform and it should be around the same score. I mean, you may see like a variance of 10, 20, 30 points maybe, but it shouldn't be like that wide of a gap. Now, if you go to an auto dealer and that auto dealer pulls your score, like they're using a different scoring model. A lot of the auto dealers don't use the FICO 8. The theory behind that is normally if like someone pulls like your FICO 3 or your FICO 5, it brings your scores in a little bit lower. And so people say, as a theory, right? And people assume that a mortgage lender or an auto dealer may pull your scores in lower because the lower your credit score, then the higher the interest rate that they're able to charge you, right? It's just a theory, right? But what we focus on is if you maximize on every area of the FICO score, it doesn't matter what scoring model anyone uses. If you have excellent payment history, your utilization is 10% or less, you focus on aging out your credit, meaning also with age, that's what I was going to say earlier, with age, never allow a credit card to close. Every credit card that you have, you want to use that card at least one time per year to prevent them from closing the card out to no activity. So every credit card that you have, use at least once per year.
So let me just what are the consequences if you allow that to happen?
It stops the age. It stops the age. So if you have that card that's 10 years old and that account closed, it stops the age. You don't want to lose that 10 years of age. You want to keep aging and aging and aging.
Okay.
The purpose of that is that if I have a credit card, like say, Mr. Edward, you look like you're around like 45, maybe 40. In your early 40s. Say you had a card when you was 20 years old and you had that card for 20 years and you say, hey, I'm in Target and they're offering this great thing. I'm going to apply for this card. that new account, now you got a 20-year account and an account that's a month. So now your average age is 10 years. No change on your scores.
Okay.
Right? Because you're over that 7-year
Threshold.
mark.
Yeah, the threshold that was set
Right.
up.
So what I think is interesting, about this age of credit. Let's say you had an account and it's I don't know, I'm saying a revolving credit account or whatever. And you've had that card for like 10 years. Okay. Made on-time payments, utilization where it needs to be, all the things. You pretty much met all the criteria. So you're probably going to fall in that excellent credit range if everything is good, right? But you then decide, according to what you're saying, to close that card. It sounds like to me you're saying that you lose that credit history. And so if you should get another card, you're starting from scratch, basically. And so it's going to look like if you close that card. So it looks like if you start from scratch, you get a brand new card, and you've only had it, like you said earlier, you gave us a great little scale. If you only had it for 1 to 2 years or so, it's going to look like you have poor credit as a part of the age of credit, even though it's 15%, because you don't have enough credit history to prove to them that you actually have excellent credit, right? Is
Correct.
that okay? All right. And that's just interesting. It's almost unfair because if you've been paying your payments on time and doing all the things right, and for whatever reason you're like, I'm just going to close that card, get rid of it, whatever. Some people shred their cards because they don't want to be tempted to use their cards. But to Joseph's point, keep it, charge one thing a year or a month and pay it off or whatever the case is. But some people just like, I need to get the temptation out of the way. But if they do that and they're not using their card account, do you have to like physically go into a system and close an account, or does it become dormant after a while and it closes itself? How does closing the account work?
Well, the banks make that decision. So you can call in and close a card. So you could call in and say, hey, I want to close my card, which again, we don't recommend. But if the banks, like if we go back through 2008 or any time that there's uncertainty in the economic environment, and those cards that's just been sitting dormant, they'll close the card out.
Okay, suppose a young person, very young person who just got out of college maybe, and they had enough money saved up or wherever they got the money from to buy a big ticket item like a house. Does that put you on board for starting off with good credit?
Yeah, that's an installment. We actually have a team that works in the real estate industry, so I got experience in that as well. So I'm going to answer your question, Ms. Edward, but when we talk about like someone that's young, because I want to make sure that the viewers understand the full scope of it. When I say you never want to close out a credit card, I don't want one of my viewers to be like, hold on, Mr. Wallace told me, because if you're just starting, so say you're just starting with credit and we advise you, hey, get 2 secured cards, right? You starting off, you have a 550 score. It may be challenging for you to go like to your bank and for them to approve you. And you don't want to burn through an inquiry as well. Like add an inquiry and you don't be approved for something. Like there are banks out there that will guarantee you an approval as long as you don't have a bankruptcy on your credit, right? So start off and get a secure card. Start off with 2. Why do I say 2? Because the more positive accounts you have on your credit, the faster it's going to move the scores.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So once you have those 2 cards and you allow those 2 cards to season for like 90 days, then you can apply for unsecured cards. So if you don't have anything negative on your credit and you get 2 secured cards, within 90 days, you're going to be at a 680 or above. Almost every bank is going to approve you, right? You can go, you can apply for Capital One Discover. You can go to your credit union in your area. They're going to approve you. Now you got an unsecured card. The difference between secured and unsecured is secured means you had to secure that card with your own funds. And so if I get a bank $200, I got a secured credit card with a $200 credit limit. Unsecured means that based on my credit worthiness, that when I applied for it, looked at the factors of my credit profile, and it said based on my income, I've managed these 2 cards over a 9-day period, and my scores are here, we can approve him for a $750 card, and it's unsecured. That means that $750 is the bank's money. Now I got a credit card with $750 of the bank money. Now here's how we advise our clients. You start off with the secured cards when you're building credit. Then you go from secured to unsecured. You get that card in like 90 days. If you're unsure, like our client, they'll call in, hey, is it time? Or we'll tell them, hey, it's time to like apply for that unsecured card. And then 30 days later, depending on what bank you're with, like if you're with like a great bank like Navy Federal, then you do the 90 days, and then 91 days after that, then you want to get your second card. After you have those 2 cards, so now we're at 6 months, right? And the downside of having a secure card or like those starter cards, like Credit One, First Latitude, those cards, is that the interest rates are extremely high.
I'm glad you're going there because that was my next question.
Yes, so the interest rates are extremely high. Once you build your credit profile out and you get your 2 secure cards, which you should be your 2 unsecured cards, which you should be able to obtain within a 6-month period, this will be the only time ever that you will close out a credit card. And you're closing out those secured cards so you can get your funds back. So you get a bank $200, $300, they give you a $200 or $300 credit card. It's your money. So as you spend on it, you're spending your money and you're paying yourself back. When you close it out, they give you back your funds.
Using your money to build credit.
Your money to build credit. Mm-hmm. Once you go unsecured, you'll never close out those cards. So the secured card, close them out, get your funds back, that's fine. After that, never close out a card. If you follow this strategy and you get, say, you're going to take this hit up front, right? Within the first year, if you have 4 cards within the first year, you don't have to apply for a card again. You got 4 accounts. If you allow those 4 accounts to age over a 10-year period, you got 40 years of age total. And then you divide that by the 4, right? It'll take a lot to move that needle. If you apply for a new card, you get a card offer in the mail and they offer you 0% interest rate. If you spend $3,000, they'll give you $300 cash back. You're like, oh, I'm applying for that because I know something I could spend $3,000 on now that I need to get for the house. You spend that $3,000, you pay it off, they give you $300 cash back.
You were talking about credit card rates and interest rates.
So
what would you say is an ideal interest rate, APR, annual percentage rate for a card? I know there's some rates that you should absolutely stay away from. So maybe we should start there, because when people are researching credit card offers, they have a lot of different options to choose from. Like you mentioned, rewards and cash back and all the things. Sometimes those offers will say, 0% interest for 18 months or 24 months or whatever. But then after that, there's an interest rate that you have to deal with, a cost for, using that credit card. So what is just the interest rate you should automatically say no to?
29% or higher.
29% or higher.
The problem with that is that's going to be like that number that most people are going to get. So like we don't want to discourage them for trying to build credit, because when you're starting off, like you're going to be at that number. So don't let that number discourage you. But to answer your question, the ideal number that you want to be at is around that 19 to 24%. If you follow the strategy of not carrying a balance, is like you charge, pay off. Let me get the cash back or the points for it, charge, pay off. You stay under that 10%. Now, even if you're at a 24% interest rate, you're not really paying that much in interest. So if an emergency comes up and you have to use that card, you're not paying that much in interest. The advantage to doing that is you can take advantage of opportunities. So if something does come up, you can say, hey, I've had my 4 cards and I need to do a big purchase and I want to avoid the interest on it. I'm going to get this new card now. And it's not going to really impact my age, but this new card, just as you stated, has a 0% interest rate for between 12 to 18 months. I know even I use that, and I have a lot of cards. I use the same approach, is that if I can do a balance transfer, and I'm going to do a balance transfer, and that balance transfer, they're offering like no balance transfer fee, a 0% rate for 12 to 18 months, I'm going to take advantage of that.
Okay. That's good info.
It is good info. One of the things that you talked about earlier was, parents serving as, or children serving as an authorized user on their parents' card. I think on the flip side of that, we should talk a little bit about co-signers when it comes down to, credits and things like that. And
Yes.
if you could touch on that, what anyone who is asked to be a co-signer really needs to understand about co-signing on a loan or a car or whatever the case is.
Right.
How it impacts the credit.
So co-sign, I'll answer that first, because that's sometimes people need a co-signer, whether it's buying a house or your child trying to purchase their first car. Even again, they have a 740 score, they still may need a co-signer.
Why?
So right, they're 18 years old, they had a
Because their
job
credit
for
score's too
4
low.
months, they're going to need a co-signer.
Mhm.
Unless they have like a huge down payment, which the majority don't, right? It's just the reality of life that they're going to need that co-signer unless they can go 12 months at a job with good income. That's why I try to tell my kids, don't be a job hopper. It doesn't look good, right? You want to find your career. You want to find your path in life. We're going to go back to trajectory. How much time do I have? Because
Go ahead, keep talking. You good? Yeah, I told you it goes by fast. You good? Go ahead.
Okay, because this is important. I'll answer the question real quick. Co-signing, if you have to be careful, because if you co-sign for, especially a young person that don't really have an understanding of credit responsibility, they make a mistake, it impacts your credit as well. Right. So if I was to co-sign for my son on his car payment and he have a late payment on that car, now I have a late payment on my credit as well, because that debt is going to show on my credit as well. So, but as parents, right, we want to try to give our kids the advantage in life, right? And this is why it's important for your children to have good credit starting off, because if not, what happens is, and I'm not talking bad about any like car dealer. I have clients that own car dealers, right? But they cater to, but it's like a buy here, pay here place, right? So if you don't have good credit, they'll find a way to finance you. The thing is, the interest rate on those cars are higher. So the downside to that, we'll give a real life scenario. I answered the question for you about co-signing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we may need to do it, right, to help our children or family member, but you have to be very careful when you co-sign, because right, what they do could impact you, and you built years of trying to have a great score. Now that 800 just dropped down to like a 680. Doesn't mean you can't recover from it. Okay, so that's co-signing. The trajectory of your life is based around credit. We may not even understand that, but the trajectory of our life is based around credit, and it starts even at the age of 18. So if I take the average 18-year-old, they graduate high school, they go try to find a job, whether they're in school and they want a part-time job and it's off campus, they need transportation. Right. That very first decision of that very first car that they get changes their life, because that very first car, if I don't have credit, and I don't have a down payment, now I'm going to be stuck, which most buy here, pay here places are going to require a down payment. So now I got to borrow from my family to get money for that down payment, and I have a very high interest rate. Here's the downside to that, and this is how it changes my life forever, because that used car that's a 2015, I just paid $8,000 for. The true value of that car is $5,000, right? But they got to make their money too, right? Or $5,000 or $6,000. But I just purchased and financed the car for $8,000. The longer I keep that car, the car is going to depreciate faster than my payments, because on that high interest rate, the majority of it is going towards the interest. So if I make a $400 car payment, $230 is going to the interest, $170 is going to the principal, meaning every time I make a payment, the balance is only coming down by $170, but my car depreciating faster than $170 per month. So now I'm driving a 2015 that's starting to have car problems, because when I purchased it, it had high mileage. So now I'm on my way to work. If I have children, I'm taking them to daycare, boom, my car breaks down. So now I'm still responsible for the car payment, right? And now I have Miss April, my mom, April, who co-signed. I got to keep the car payment going because I don't want to ruin my mom's credit, but I don't have transportation, so I'm paying for something that I can't even use. I got to figure out how can I get the car repaired. And I'm 18, trying to figure out how to come up with the funds to spend $2,000-$3,000 on a new transmission, which now I got to go back and burden my family again for the money. This is the trajectory of my life and how I'm impacting those around me as well. Now, I say, hey, I got to this car has to go. Like months over months, I'm having problems with this car. It has to go. I go to trade the car in. They tell me that they can only give me $4,000 for it because that's all the car is worth. But I still owe $7,000 on the car. And I've been paying on it for over 18 months. I'm just throwing out a number, right? I haven't calculated that, but as an example. So now I'm upside down in the car, but I need transportation. So now they're going to take that $3,000 that I owe and say I got good credit now. So that's the advantage, that I do have good credit. So I could go and finance somewhere, but now they got to take that $3,000 that I owe and put on top of the new loan. So now I'm fighting not only like this new car payment, but now $3,000 that I shouldn't even owe is on top of that new loan, which means that now I got a higher car payment because I got $3,000 or more debt on top of that. Changes the trajectory of my life because now I'm in this cycle, trying to figure out how do I get out of this high car payment with even if my interest rate came down from that 19% down to 12%. If I was able to start at 18 years old with a 740 score, and I go into a car dealership and I can get a brand new car and still pay that exact same amount or less on a brand new car that I'm not going to have any problems with, that have like bumper to bumper warranty on it, and I'm paying the exact same amount. Changes the trajectory of my life. Because now when I'm on the way to work and my car breaks down, guess what happened? I just lost that day of income.
That's right. That's right.
Which changes the trajectory of my life. Right? So all these small factors that we never consider changes the trajectory of our future. But the small things that we can change with knowledge, we can impact to change the trajectory of our life. I love that word trajectory because it means so much that we can control our future in the direction that we're going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we do that? How do we do that? So if I'm an adult and if I have bad credit, and I know I have bad credit, what do I need to do? I need to fix my credit. Like I gotta understand what's having a negative impact on my scores and what needs to be worked, because you can always restore that antique vehicle. Once I improve my score, I can add my child on my card. Doesn't mean I even have to give them a card. I could just add them as an authorized user and never give them a card. Just allow them to gain the benefits of that excellent payment history, of that age on that card, the utilization, all the factors outside of mixed credit, because they won't have mixed credit yet, or new credit because they're not applying for anything. But the other 80%, I'm helping them. So when they turn 18, they have that advantage.
Let me ask you something, Joseph. If you're adding them as an authorized user, do you have to provide any personal information like social security numbers or anything in order to be able to do that with most credit card companies?
Amazing. You'll be amazed that some credit card companies, only thing you need is the name, date of birth, and address. It depends on the bank that you're applying for. Some do require their social. So it depends on the actual bank that you're applying for.
I guess the social would be pertinent to kind of tie it to something.
You would think.
You would think.
Like the systems is so advanced right now with the person's name, the date of birth, and their address. It ties it into them. Yeah, AI is amazing.
Well, there you go, Brother Edward. Your two favorite letters.
I'm telling you, man.
It is amazing. So there's a report that I could tell you guys about. It's called LexisNexis. You can obtain your report online, and they'll send it to you.
Yeah.
They'll send you like the code. You log in, download your report. It'll give you everything about you, like things that you probably forgot about, addresses. Like, man, I forgot I stayed there when I was 18 years old. It provides every detail about you. And there's sites online right now that like you could look a person up and just by their name and their phone number, and it'll give you everything about that person. No social, no date of birth. But you could, so the same way that the computer and the banks could gather information, like it's available. So no social is needed.
Yeah. Well, before we go into the last topic that we have time to cover tonight, I do want to acknowledge some of our viewing members. And Betty Hemingway, thank you so much for watching tonight. She says, good evening. Great financial advice to pass on to the younger generation. And then Stephanie Sessions Malone, what's up, Sugar Hill? Thank you so much for watching tonight. A financial class should be taught in schools. And I just want to announce, Brother Edward, this is going to be a surprise to you. Joseph Wallace is actually going to be conducting our financial literacy for our WCM summer job students whenever we do the financial literacy session. So you're getting a taste of it tonight.
Man,
Betty and Stephanie, you all have helped to speak that into existence because I was so impressed with him pre-show. I said, you know what? I have another assignment. I want to see if there's something you'd be interested in. He said, yeah, send me the information. So our students who are participating in the employability course this summer, which begins June 27th, we will set a date for Joseph to actually teach this to those students so that they will understand financial responsibility, credit, all the things, and they're going to have a wonderful hour of this. And so I just want to make that announcement.
And
great, fantastic, welcome, man. Thank you so much.
Level too, so like they understand. I like it. I do schools in the upstate too, so I make it fun for them. I keep them engaged, so I'm excited about it.
Well, we're excited about that, and something for them to look forward to. Because I've been taking notes tonight, and I'm sure that and listen, parents. It's an hour for your students, but you might want to sit in on it too if you have a student who's going to be a part of the class. And so we thank you in advance for that, Joseph. So the last thing that we want to cover, and Brother Edward kind of posed this question in the beginning, is the difference between commercial and consumer credit. So small business owners, and just everyday people. What is the difference in the credit lines that are out there for people who own a different type of business versus like the credit you were just talking about?
I see Mr. Edward grabbing his pen. I can see him moving around. He's about to write all of this down.
You got that right.
So we talked about consumer credit and how that's based on your FICO or your Vantage score, right? And how the score ranges between that 300 to 850. On the business side, it's difference. There's a big difference on if you was to do your business credit and you apply for like through Dun and Bradstreet.
Yeah.
You get a DUNS number, and then you can build out your business credit that's attached to your DUNS number, right? And that score, it ranges from 0 to 100. So having the 80 score is equivalent to having like a 740 consumer score. So you want to get above that, the 80 and above. So that's the difference. And I'm going to debunk something. I'll come back to that. But that 80 score is the range on, it's called a paydex score, but you get your paydex score, it's like your FICO on consumer side. So your paydex score, you want to be around the 80 or above. Now, there's the big thing. I know a lot of the young consumers, they hear about like on TikTok or social media, they hear about how you don't have to use your social. Like, oh, you can get $100,000 in business credit and just on your tax EIN or just building out a paydex score, right? And so I wanted to debunk this. And the reality of it is, because I've been doing business credit even longer than consumer credit. And so, is it possible? Yes. Can a person get $100,000 in business credit without their social? Yes, they can. Now, let's talk about the reality of doing that, though. So, one, you can't go to no big bank. You can't apply for American Express, Chase, Discover, Capital One without them pulling your social. There's no way around it. Like they're going to check your social, so you gotta fix the core, right? And the core is your consumer credit file. You want to make sure that consumer credit file is strong. You got a good profile there. On the business side, how do someone say that they can get access to so much money just based on the tax EIN and the paydex score? So they have stages, and you may see it online. It's called like a tier 1, then tier 2. So can I get these accounts? Yes, you can, because on tier 1, just say hypothetically, I go and I'm starting to build my business credit. I go on Dun & Bradstreet, I apply for my DUNS number, and now I go on Granger, I go on Uline or any tier 1 vendor, which is a vendor now, meaning that it's a company that provides a service and they can extend credit to you. Not a credit card, but they can extend credit to you. So with Granger, and now again, how the economic environment changes over the last 3 to 4 years, they have became so current on the strategies that people use, like, oh, go and get a tier 1, get 2 or 3 of these and build out your score. Now, even if you have a new business with no credit history, even these tier 1 vendors are now requiring you to purchase first. So don't be surprised when online they tell you something and then you go to try to do it, but they're still requiring you to do a purchase first. So like Granger may require you on your very first item, you may have to purchase and pay for it. Is there value in doing that? Depends on your long-term goals. So if you have bad credit and you don't plan on trying to fix it, and you want to do everything under your business, it may be a value to you, but you're going to pay for it, right? So you build your tier 1, you get your Granger account, you get your account with Uline, You make your very first purchases for $100 here and $100 here. You pay for it. They send it to you, and then the very next month, now they extend you credit. So now I'm going to buy something, which you should buy something that you're going to need, which you pay more for, right? Because it's a vendor account. They charge you more than going to like Walmart or somewhere.
Right.
But if you're going to buy something from there, buy something that you need. Get this big old box of toilet paper or paper towel, something that you're going to use in your home versus buying like some scrub or gloves or something that you're not going to use. Buy something that you can actually use. As soon as you pay for it and that order arrives, pay it off. Because your payday score is based on how fast you pay. So if that order arrives in 3 or 4 days, as soon as you get it, pay it off. If you follow that pattern for 60 days or 90 days, you'll go from having no business credit to having like the 80. Again,
Yeah, that's interesting.
It is, but
simple but interesting. Yeah,
simple but interesting. But this is why I don't go like on social media and share too much, because the same way the viewers see this information, the bank
that's right. Yeah.
And so the banks say, hey, you know what? They're using this strategy now, which impacts them getting better credit, which impacts I can make less money. So someone earlier said, well, they should teach this in school. Imagine every 18-year-old graduate, and then because between the age of 18 to 21 is when we make the most mistakes financially, and that's the largest group of people that got bad credit. Imagine you take half that group and remove that group from having bad credit. And so now that 5% interest rate that people with good credit have, and you take away that 19% and you bring them down to 5%, that's a lot of money when you're talking about millions of people. So do I want to educate a large mass group of people when I stand to lose like $500 million a year in revenue? Again, we're just throwing out numbers. So we can't blame the banks. We just have to operate strategically, because if it was April or Edward in charge of the banks and they have shareholders, they're going to make the same decision. We're not going to give this information to the population and our shareholders lose $500 million a year, which impacts my job and could ultimately impact my $400,000 a year salary and my bonuses. Right. So we have to, right. That's just the system that we're in, but we have to learn the system and then we have to operate strategically. Yeah.
So now when these CEOs are not investigated, but when it comes out that the CEO of one of these S&P 500 companies and comes out that their salary is like, $15 to $20 million. I mean, so they're doing things like that. They're making sure that they don't take the routes like you just discussed about.
Right.
So.
Well, Joseph, I tell you. Oh, go ahead.
No. Is there, Mr. Edward, I know that was your segment right there on the business credit. Is there any other questions that I can answer for you?
No, I'm just hoping that you would leave your phone number for these people, but they're gonna before they can contact you. I'm sure April has it logged up somewhere. But
actually, I'm gonna put up the banner for his website. It's masterscredit.com. We definitely want you to go and visit his website to find out more about the services and offerings. And you can, of course, reach out if you would like a consultation or to find out more about how Joseph Wallace and his team can help. You've given us a tremendous amount of information tonight and a definite class in credit utilization, age of credit, all the good things, Brother Edward. And I think that our students in the summer jobs employability course are going to definitely benefit from all of this knowledge, and we look forward to having you there for that. Is there anything else you'd like to leave our audience members with in terms of just like some final or parting words to encourage them as they try to elevate their scores, or even figure out how to help someone, like you said, in their family or a young person to understand credit?
The best thing I would tell someone is know your credit score.
Yeah.
Even if you use Credit Karma, it's free, right? You want to know everything that's happening on your credit. On the platform that we advise our clients to use is called Identity IQ. And because it comes with so much more, so if you're interested in that platform, you can call our office or you can go online and request a consultation. Our consultations are free. So if you just don't know why your scores are low or what can be done, you can schedule a free consultation and our team will explain everything in depth to you where you like, wow, like, okay, and here's some things that you need to do to help improve your scores. Or if it's something that our company can help you with, then we'll help you along the way. But you have to know your credit profile. I think that's the best thing is you have to know your credit profile and don't just see it once, like stay on top of it every month.
Fantastic, man.
All right. Well, Joseph, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate it.
I
And I will
enjoyed
be in touch. Yes, I will be in touch with you really, really soon. And
I think we're all going to be in touch with this guy. Well,
and we are the best. Everybody say they're the best. It don't matter what their product, the service is, right? It don't matter what you sell, but everybody, you should have that confidence in whatever your brand is, right? But if you look at our reviews, like our staff is like highly trained. They go through like a very extensive training, right? Because if you're gonna work with someone on their credit, you have to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you gotta know what you're talking about.
So,
and that's the way I'm viewing you. I really am. I'm looking at you that way. That you know what you're talking about, and you feel confident. Okay.
Right. So I try to pass that down and set that high expectation for the staff as well when we hire that. We try to put the best people in place to help educate our clients. So if you look up Masters Credit Consultants, and we like 5 stars on Google, we're not 5 stars for no reason. I do feel that we are the best and we're growing.
Okay, that's wonderful. I'm going to give a special shout out for a quote I'm getting ready to use. Reverend Charles Milton P. of Friendship Missionary Baptist Church in Conway, he once said during a sermon, it's a poor frog who won't praise his own pond. So you're obviously not a poor frog because you're praising your pond, and I think that's great because you have to have confidence in the people who are delivering this great service, and we certainly do appreciate it. And please keep dropping those wonderful nuggets of knowledge in the network. And he has a blog, as a matter of fact, everybody. If you go to that website, you can sign up and get information that way as well. And so thank you again, Joseph. We really do appreciate you, and I will be in touch with you really, really soon to talk more about the employability course.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
All
Thanks so much, man.
Bye-bye.
Godspeed.
Brother Elwood, I tell you. We had a wonderful, I think I've gone through about 2 or 3 pages of notes here. This is some good stuff.
I've got at least one solid page. Okay, good.
Yeah. I can't wait for our young people to find out more about this.
Yeah.
And, we've already kind of talked a little bit about how we're going to keep them engaged, little activity and all that. So speaking of which, just want to say thank you to all of the parents who signed up your students for the WCM Summer Jobs Employability course. Pleased to say that by deadline, we had 18 students to sign up. That means technically we have 2 slots left. So if you think that there's a 14 to 18-year-old who could benefit from being in the program, how about drop me a message? Otherwise, we're going to start our program this Saturday, June 20th, with our kickoff event, which is going to be held at the Rivertown Complex in the Horry County Adult Education Auditorium. Thank you to Etta Green Carter for being our hostess. And she's going to talk a little bit about, adult education and some things that the students also need to know about preparing for the future. And there will also be a kickoff of the Reading Roots program on that Saturday. It's going to last about an hour and a half or so. And then everybody can get on with the rest of their day with all the wonderful Juneteenth celebrations that are going on over the weekend. So we planned it just right. So you can, get the kickoff for the kids to get ready for their summer programs. And then you can go have a good time over the weekend with your family and friends.
And it starts at what time, April, again?
Starts at 11. Starts at 11 a.m.
Okay.
Starts at 11 a.m. So we just want to thank Joseph for being with us tonight. And if you have any other topics that you would like for us to cover, please let me know. Or if there's some, news and information that has come up and you're like, this is a great article, send me a link to it. You never know. It might turn into a great show, a news story or focus that Brother Edward and I would like to talk about, or can invite a guest to join us to talk about. So we really do appreciate all the support tonight for everyone who tuned in. Again, this broadcast will be available on wcmagazine.net for the next week. So you can tell everybody to visit the website and they can click on the video reel and they can see this broadcast all over again. And also you can share it across social media. We appreciate that reach as well, because it helps us to spread the word and all this great education. Right. And Brother Edward, I know you're gonna like this, and all of this is free 99. Free 99.
No, April. I meant to say that during the broadcast. I said I better hold
off. You got to get on it, Brother Edward. You got to get back on it.
That was I said it better hold off. Something we used to use when we were on the radio broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. $3.99.
$3.99.
That's a Sugar Hill blurb.
That's right. That's right. Important topics, empowering information, all communities. So thank you all. We'll be back next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. and with more great guests and news and topics. And we just really appreciate all the support.
Yeah, absolutely. We enjoy conveying it out to everybody. Really do.
Mm-hmm. All right, everyone. Well, take care and have a great rest of the week.
Godspeed.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook.